Well, what is going on, Bills Mafia? Welcome into the Hump Day Hotline. I am your host, Joe Miller, the voice of the overreaction Bills. Well, I can't say that anymore. I think I can still say it verbally. I just can't put it, write it, post it, or do anything like that as far as call myself Bills. For those of you that didn't know, real quick, so sidebar, start the show off with a sidebar. For those of you that didn't know, we received a cease and desist letter from the Buffalo Bills. No longer allowed to use the word Bills. So I'm taking, requests on the name for my podcast. I was thinking the Overreaction Williams podcast, but I don't think that works as well. But anyways, voice of the Overreaction Sports Podcast, Buffalo Sports Podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. You are tuned in to the Hump Day on the Buffalo Fanatics Multicast Network. Hump Day, Hump Day, Hump Day. And it is good to see you guys here. We got a whole bunch of y'all jumping in. Buster, I see you. What's up? It's good to see you. Ryan Horton's in the house. Elliott's in the house. Lewis Matos is in the house. Brett Holmes is in the house. John Banks is in the house. PJ's in the house. Y'all just lining up and getting in here. Do me a favor. Whatever platform you were watching this on right now, jump onto it and share it and all that good stuff as far as that goes, so that other people can get up in here. So let Bills Mafia know where you're at. Also, jump on that like button. Hump that like, as we like to say on Wednesday nights, especially Victory Wednesday nights. And I got a lot of energy tonight. I hope you guys know that. I got a ton of I don't know what's going on, but somebody's in the thing saying their feelings are hurt, but I can't really read it because the comments are flying so back. Already got our first super chat from John Banks. What is up, John Banks? Welcome into the show. The New York football team, easy. We are the only New York football team. It is absolutely true, but you are tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Fanatics Multicast Network, brought to you by Manscaped. And this is what's up. So my guy Clay is going to be joining us for the at 9:30 for the second half of the show. And I'm going to wait because he ripped it. He did such a good job on the Manscaped read last week that we're going to let Clay do the Manscaped read once again this week. Because my guy just killed it. And I was about as red as the word Hump Day up in the logo there. Is what he said. It was amazing. So stick around. Don't go to another show. I know the problem. I know that there's 15 shows that are on Wednesday nights at 9:00. This is the one you want to be at. And the reason that I know is because we usually hang around that 150 mark as far as people that are tuned in until about 9:05, and then the number jumps to 250, 300 because everybody that's watching the other shows comes to where they should have started. Y'all should just start and stay right here with Joe Miller and the Hump Day Hotline. So do me a favor, though. I've already said it. Hump that like button, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, jump on it, share it. Let's get some more of the Mafia up in here. How are we feeling? I'm excited. Coming off of that 49ers game, I am crazy excited. It is just so many people were concerned, were nervous, right? The amount of people that were on Twitter saying, effectively, I like Sunday 1:00 games because they're afraid. They're afraid that the Buffalo Bills are going to go out. The one thing we all want prime time. We all want the world to take notice. And Bills Mafia is afraid of the Bills being on prime time because they might lay an egg. I'm here to tell you guys, this is a different football team. Throw that Titans game away. Throw that Chiefs game away. The Titans especially, but the Chiefs game. I mean, that Chiefs game, as much as we didn't like it, as much as the outcome wasn't what we wanted, they were in that game the whole time. Put those fears to rest. This is not the same team. This is not the same quarterback. What's up, Eric? Welcome into the show. Amazing primetime show. Go Bills. JA17 MVP worthy. I don't know if you've seen it. He is number 3 now in the current favorites for MVP, and his numbers in Vegas. And I'm not a Vegas guy. Well, I enjoy Vegas. I love to play cards, blackjack, and hold'em. I'm not a sports bettor. So whatever it means that his numbers are going up, that means that the line or going down rather. The line's going down, which means that it's more apt. It's starting to look more like he's going to become or has the potential to be the MVP. And make no mistake, the next 4 games mean a lot to Josh Allen, especially on primetime. So the Pittsburgh game, the Denver game, and the Patriots game mean a lot to his chances of becoming MVP. That's not really what I want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Steelers. We're going to talk about the we're going to talk about the 49ers. We're going to talk about the Steelers, and then we're going to talk about some probably playoff stuff. And then the whole time we're going to field questions from you guys, comments, questions, whatever concerns you have. We want you to be a part of the show, just like Sean is right now. Sean, thank you for the super chat. Imagine if the Bills had a QB Nick Wright. Nick Wright trusted. For those of you that don't know, Nick Wright, Get Nick Wright, I believe is his Twitter handle, at Get Nick Wright. He's trolling Bills Mafia hardcore, but so was Keyshawn Johnson today. Keyshawn Johnson was trolling Bills Mafia today, but Nick Wright is trolling Bills Mafia bad. Like it's just bad. Like and like Keyshawn today, I don't know if you saw it. It was part of my take, or one of those shows on ESPN was saying that, you know, even the win that the Bills had over the Rams, right? Because the Bills have beaten 6 playoff teams, I think is the number. So 6 of the wins that the Bills have are against current teams that are going to be in the playoffs. And one of those teams was the Rams. And Keyshawn was like, yeah, but they played them early. Well, yeah, Keyshawn, but if I remember correctly, the Rams were undefeated, right? When the Bills beat the Rams were undefeated. So it's not like the Rams were like 0-3 and came into Buffalo and the Bills waxed them. No, that's not what happened. That Rams team was good, and they've been good the whole season. But yes, Nick Wright is he's just trolling the Buffalo Bills, and you guys need to not fall for it. We as the Mafia, we need to find a headspace where we are just like, you know what? We're going to do us and you do you. And if you don't like the Bills and you don't like Josh Allen, we don't care, because at the end of the day, we love Josh Allen. We love our football team. We love our city, right? We love, if you're from Buffalo, if you're a son or a daughter of Buffalo, the pride you have that comes forth out of you everywhere. I lived in Columbus, Ohio for 13 years. I lived in Missouri. I lived in Florida. Everybody I knew I was from Buffalo, because it comes out of us. Everything we talk about, we live, breathe, eat, sleep Buffalo. Somebody saying my audio is going in and out. Is that true? What's up, Cindy Floyd Westling? It's been a long time since I've seen you. Speaking of people from Ohio, is that true? Is my audio going in and out, or are you guys good? Somebody tell me in the chat real quick. Audio good, audio bad? Because on my side it sounds good. In the chat, just no. No, your audio is good. Okay, so my audio is good on my side. So if you're having a problem, Cindy, more than likely the audio is on your end. So I apologize. So so I forgot where I was in that rant. So those of you that don't know, my friend Cindy Floyd Westling, where'd she go? She is a Steeler fan, tried and true Steeler fan from Columbus, Ohio. And treat her well. Cindy, stick around in the chat. We're gonna be balanced. We're gonna be objective. We are Bills Mafia, but stick around in the chat. Don't go anywhere, and treat Cindy good, because Cindy is a friend of mine and she is awesome. My guy Jeff King showing up. Good Lord, Jeff King. Thank you for the super chat, brother. That's how effing excited I am. Love it. Completely loved it. Offense, defense is coming back. Seriously, looking good all the way around. Keyshawn wishes he had Josh. Dude, you can stop right there. Keyshawn Johnson wishes he had Josh Allen when he was playing. He wouldn't have had to say, give me the damn ball. You're right. You're absolutely. Jeff King, first of all, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a part of the show. And thank you for bringing the energy, my guy. Like, yes, Keyshawn Johnson, all these guys. Somebody has to be the devil's advocate, right? So it's almost like we get trolled. It's two things. So somebody has to be the guy on the other side that says, hey, I don't believe in that team. And then somebody also has to be the guy that's like trying to get his Twitter mentions up and has to like slam Bills Mafia, because we come at them. If you're on Twitter or Facebook and somebody says something negative about the Buffalo Bills, we know what happens. We come after them, and it's relentless. Dude, Twitter was rolling today with some dude, and I retweeted it too. Some dude from 2 years ago that was saying the Bills, could you imagine a world where the Bills pay $15 million a year for John Brown and Cole Beasley? And it's like, yeah, I can imagine that, because it's working out pretty well for the Buffalo Bills, if I do say so myself. There it is right there. That's what we need. We need the bell up in this mug. So Rico's got to send me a bell. So I need Rico and Pierre to send me a bell so we can get this trainer rolling with the bell. But this is exactly right, Matthew. Thank you for this comment. Those guys on TV get paid to take opposing views so they can argue. And it's true. The hard part about it is the ones that just die by it. Like, they're like, you know what? I'm going to take the negative side of the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to carry that narrative for the whole season. It's almost like Good Morning Football. And I love Good Morning Football. And we've talked about Kay Adams on this show when Jay Spence was here. And we talked about these guys. And I love Nate Burleson. I love Schrags. I love Kyle Brandt. I love Kay. But I woke up Tuesday morning, right? I woke up Tuesday morning after getting 3 hours of sleep. I got 3 hours of sleep Monday night because after the game, it was 11:20. The game ended at 11:20. I was fired up, right? I was not in a condition necessarily to record a podcast. I was just like ready to roll, and like I was ready to go out and run. Like that's where I was at. So I had to come down. I had to come down off the high as far as like what I watched, the game that the Buffalo Bills put together, a complete 4-quarter game, complete all 3 phases. Like you watch that football game, the Buffalo Bills crushed the 49ers. It was never in doubt. There was never a moment, even with the Bills taking chances and turning it over on downs on the goal line, Zach Moss fumbling, the Bills were never not in control of that football game. So I went to bed, or I'm sorry, 11:20 the game ends. I needed to wait until about midnight. So right around midnight, I got downstairs and I started putting my notes together for the show. Got it recorded, got it all put together, got it loaded up to the network, or and all that stuff, all the things that I have to do like to make this stuff happen. I get to bed at 3:00 in the morning. I'm up at 6:30, right? I'm up at 6:30 in the morning. And the reason that I'm awake at 6:30 in the morning is because I want to watch Good Morning Football. Well, sure enough, first highlight come on Good Morning Football at 7:00 in the morning. And they do a 30-second, 45-second roll of the Bills highlights, right? Bills highlights. And then they don't talk about the Bills again for the rest of the hour, 7 to 8 o'clock. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like I saw more about the Nutri-Grinder. I saw more information about the Nutri-Grinder than I did the Buffalo Bills. And they get mad. They get mad at Bills Mafia because we're all up in their mentions being like, could you talk about the Bills, please? The Bills could go to the Super Bowl and win. And the whole way there, all we're going to hear about is that nobody believes in this football team until we beat the next team. Well, if they beat the 49ers, then I'll believe. If they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, then I'll believe. If they beat the Denver Broncos, then I'll believe. If they beat the New England Patriots, then I'll believe. It's going to go all the way. Like the Bills are in the Super Bowl again, and the Bills win the Super Bowl, and it's like, well, I'm still not so sure about 2021. Like I think they won on a fluke. In 2021, they're probably going to end up 6-10. And it's like, give me a break. And I started the show saying that we need to just stop worrying about it. And I think that's where we are, guys. I think we're literally in a place where we just need to stop worrying about it. Nutri-Grinder. Props to Nutri-Grinder, solid product. That's my brother. So that is Andrew Miller, and that is my brother from the same father. If that makes any sense. So brother from another mother stuff, like, but that's my brother. That is legit my brother. So welcome, Andy, into the show. Welcome everybody else. I'm feeling the flow. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm just feeling the flow. The Buffalo Bills are 9-3. 9-3, coming off a dominant, amazing win against the San Francisco 49ers on a neutral field, which the Buffalo Bills somehow were underdogs. It makes absolutely no sense. But you know what? It's probably not going to happen a whole lot more this season. I think, does anybody know? Tell me in the chat. Are the Bills underdogs this week? Are they underdogs at home against the Steelers? Because if they are, man, it's going to be a tough weekend for me. But somebody that bets, let me know if the Bills are underdogs in the chat real quick. What do we got going on here? -2. So if the Bills are -2, no, so it's -3 automatically. So yeah, they're +1, right? Is that what that means? The Bills are +1. They're giving the Bills 1 point with the 3-point home advantage that they give everybody. So now I got people saying 2.5 favorites. Oops, where'd they go? I just jumped on the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Where are they at? Bills are favorites. So no, I don't think somebody get it straight. So somebody that bets, where's Casey Reed when I need him, right? So yeah, we'll talk about it. But what stuck out with you in this 49ers game? It was funny because when I finished my show, and I finished recording my show for Tuesday, I was upset because I left out some incredibly, what I felt were big talking points that I wanted to talk about. And if the betting line is Bills +2, that means that we are underdogs is what that means. So yeah. But I left out talking points. I'll get back to that here in a second because I got to know. You guys are like super chatting me up tonight. Andrew Miller. This is the other Andrew Miller. This is my brother from another mother. At some point, we got to break down games and how you would beat the Bills versus being scared of the opponent. That's true. We're going to talk a little bit about that with Clay tonight. Andrew, stick around. When Clay shows up, the questions that I have for Clay are literally based off of this type of stuff. So this is literally where we are. I agree 100%. We're at the point where going into that 49ers game in my preview show, which I can stop right there, kind of, If you're not subscribed to the Overreaction Bills podcast currently, you need to. So if you're going to the Buffalo Fanatics Daily Podcast platform to listen to my show, and you're getting it on Mondays generally, you're missing exclusive content from me. The exclusive content that you're missing from me is my preview show. I do a preview show every week that's about 20 to 25 minutes long, not super long. You're also missing the replay of this, so I actually post this. If you miss the hotline, you can catch it on my RSS feed. You need to go to your platform, whatever podcast platform you're listening to, search Overreaction Bills. It's still the Overreaction Bills for a little while. It's going to have to change soon, like I said, because I got a cease and desist from the Buffalo Bills. They don't like my free advertisement, free promotion, and free marketing, so I've effectively been fired from a non-paying job, but for the Buffalo Bills. But what I said on the preview game show is I'm confident. I'm legit confident. And to the point that you were just making, we need to be in a space where that confidence has returned to us as Bills Mafia. We're no longer going into these games, even primetime games, scared to death. We need to be having conversations about how the Bills are going to beat whoever we're playing and what they have to do to beat us. I agree 100% that that's where we need to be. I was confident going into that 49ers game. I'm concerned going into this Pittsburgh game because the Bills have not had a great history of beating the Steelers. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fantastic matchup, and we're not going to talk about it for about another 10 or 15 minutes, 13 minutes until Clay Troya gets here, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. But I want you guys to get to the point where you expect to win. I want the Mafia to start expecting to win because we are power rankings right now 5 in the NFL. I think somebody had us at 3. Some crazy person had us at 9, I saw today, which when you put a team at 5 in the top 5, you're talking Super Bowl contention at that point. You're one of the 5 best teams in the NFL. Do you think at this point in time, the Buffalo Bills are Super Bowl contenders? Light the chat up with that. Are the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl contenders right now, being power ranked number 5? I saw 3. The best one I saw was number 3. Ahead of us were the Chiefs and the Steelers, and that was it. 3 AFC teams in a row, top 3 teams in the NFL. So what do you guys think as far as just being 100%? That's where I'm at, says Connor. Neon Brady says yes. Rebecca, welcome to the show, says yes. Buff says absolutely. Where'd it go? You guys are hauling now. I can't get to it. It keeps popping up on me. Triggs44 says we will beat the Steelers with their catching issues and can't run for the football. We will beat them. I like the confidence. I'm in agreement too. We're going to get to that soon. What's up, Kevin? The resident Dolphins fan, Buffalo Fanatics contributor, Kevin. Joe, I think they're contenders. I do too, dude. Like that's where I'm at. So Joe Drummond says, yup. Welcome into the show, Joe. Omar, welcome into the show. If the defense plays better, we are unstoppable. Can we talk about this for a minute? This is something we need to talk about because this offense, the way that they play, you go to the Chargers game, and I talked about this last week. That Chargers game, I had to apologize for because on my rewatch, when I went back and rewatched that Chargers game, the Bills were never not in control of that game, and the Chargers had no answers for this Buffalo Bills offense. 49ers game was 1 punt away for being the second no punt game the Bills have played this year. I'm going somewhere with this, so stick with me. The second, they were 1 punt away. They had to punt with 3:44 left in the game in the fourth quarter. Only punt. This offense is en fuego. If anybody's watching from Spain or Mexico, this offense was en fuego, right? Or is in fuego right now. They're hard to stop. Like they're beating teams at will right now. If we can get this defense to continue to find its rhythm, to find its strength, to get back to who they were in 2019, man, good Lord. My brother Andrew says if they can't keep rolling, yes, now is when you want to play your best ball. They're coming together at the right time. If they can keep this thing rolling, if they can keep building on what they're doing, yes, now is the right time. I don't know what this question, John, do we want KC or Miami to win? Probably KC. I would like, as much as last week's show was titled Destiny is All, because the Bills are it was 2 weeks ago, because the Bills are in control of their own destiny and they've got somebody right on their heels. I would like a little space between us and Miami. The good news is we're going to play Miami in the last game of the season in January, first weekend in January, in Buffalo, in Orchard Park, which is not going to bode well for Miami if that game ends up meaning something. Chances are, to me, I don't think it's going to mean something. Cedric says, I think we're contenders. I do too, bro. I do too. So Brian Bowers is lighting up the comments. People are responding to him. I don't know what you said, but I love that. Brian is my guy. So be good to Brian. And Brian is a staple here on the show. What's up, Richard Rush, my other brother, my guy? Buffalo Fanatics are our therapist for fan PTSD. We are contenders. And when we beat the Steelers, we will be Super Bowl bound. If we beat the Steelers, guys, the Bills are winning out. If we beat the Steelers, I'm telling you right now, the Bills are going to run the table. I said it on my podcast 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was Saturday's preview show or Sunday's preview show, Monday's preview show. What I'm losing track. It's been a busy week. So I recorded Sunday. I recorded Monday. I was on the Built in Buffalo YouTube show on Saturday. I've got this tonight. I'm recording with John Fina tomorrow. What's up, Chris Janke? The real Chris Janke is in the house. I'm recording with John Fina, the Off Tackle with John Fina show tomorrow night. That's going to drop on Friday. I got a lot going on. Like this season is wrapping up. It's probably going to kill me. And if it doesn't, I might end up divorced by the time this thing is over. George, welcome into the show. We just need this defense to be top 10. Our offense is so much better than last year, so we can handle this defense giving up some points. It's true. One of the things I wanted to talk about was I put out a tweet. During the football game. The Bills were up. They had scored, I think, 34 points. So the game was, it was a 3-possession game. And the Bills, the defense allowed them to come straight back down the field. I believe they scored once. And then they were getting ready to score again. And I think they were on the 10 or the 15-yard line. And I tweeted, I said, I just wish this defense could one time close out a football game. And what I meant by that was the Bills have a 3-possession lead, right? So we're up. And instead of watching us give up 2 easy touchdowns in the last 4, 5, 6 minutes of a football game, just once I would like the defense to close the door. Like, just show up and close the door. And sure enough, dude, what happens? Trey Day shows up. Trey White intercepts that football on the goal line. And it's like, they answered. They heard me and they answered. It was incredible. And that was just one of those things. This team, the things I want you to take solace in, Bills Mafia, the things that I want you to take solace in as we talk about being confident about this football game, that defense is coming together. They closed out a game against the 49ers. How about, let's talk about just for a second, if you will, let's talk just for a second about the 2-minute drive, which was actually 65 seconds, going into halftime, right? Going into halftime where they kicked the field goal. They were not really in a hurry up. They were pretty much just taking their time. They were very calm. They were very collected. There wasn't a sense of urgency as much as there was a sense of expectations. We got 65 seconds. We're going to go down the field and we're going to put some more points on the board before this half is over. I remember the first play, if you remember, 65 seconds left on the clock, the Bills get the ball back wherever they were, 15-yard line, 25 yard line. I don't remember where they were exactly. First play is a run play. I think they got 3 yards. And I'm like, that's different. And then all of a sudden, huge chunk, kicking a field goal. Tyler Bass, has become money for this football team. Shout out to my guy, Hauschka. Thank you for everything you did. Hausch, we love you. Bills Mafia for life. But how clutch right now is Tyler Bass becoming? But that's one more thing that we as Bills Mafia need to be confident in. Confident. And there's so much more stuff. So Peter's trying to get my attention. We got the ball. I said, time to score again. Wasn't even surprised. We are different this year. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Hump Day Hotline. There's almost 200 people up in this mug. Whatever platform you're watching the Hump Day Hotline. Jump on that like button. Hump that like button. Share it. Let your friends know. Let's get more Bills Mafia up in this place. And I'm Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. How about this? Josh Allen is not only now recognizing when the opposing team does something wrong. So whether it's 12 men on the field against the Chargers. So if you remember that shot, there was a shot of Josh Allen. He was under center, looking straight at the defender, right, who was running for the sideline, and quick snapped the ball, got him with 12 men on the field, got a free play. So he's seeing that stuff. He's seeing the offsides. He's seeing offsides, and when he sees the offsides, he knows that he's got a free play. Not only is he doing those things that we have waited 20 years to see somebody do again, a quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. How about this? He's also calling penalties mid-play, right? There was the one play. He's rolling out to his right. Stephon Diggs gets totally held, and Josh Allen points. He looks at the ref and he points. He goes, "That's a foul." And sure enough, ref pulls out his flag, throws it on the ground. Josh Allen gets a free play. Like, the confidence and the moxie of the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills right now is something to behold. Something to behold. You need to have confidence. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Like you called it, Joe, pass first and use the run to keep defenses at bay. Beasley always open, along with Diggs and Brown coming back, with Gabe stepping up. McKenzie doing his thing. D stepping up huge lately. What we needed. You can't see half of my face right now, so I got to take this down. Eric, thank you for the super chat. You're the man. The sense of the confidence that I had going into this football game, the straight confidence that I had going into this football game, literally went to 100 when Josh Allen hit Cole Beasley on either the first or second play of the game. I was like, yes, that's where you want to go. Literally, that's where if Josh Allen, he just played a different football game against a very good 49ers defense. And that football game, that plan that he had was literally to take what the defense gave. And you saw a different in rhythm Josh Allen because they were passing first. I've said it, you've heard me say it almost all year. To hell with balance. Forget balance. I don't care about run plays. Yes, we need to run the football. I'm not saying that you don't ever run it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't run it. There's times to run the football. But we don't need to be 50-50. We don't need to be 45-55. You pass the ball because that's what this team is. This is a passing offense first. Pass the football and then catch them with the runs. Catch them with the runs. So it's just incredible. Bruce Nolan's up in the house. What's up, Bruce? My man, can't go broke taking a profit. It's absolutely true. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Hump Day Hotline here on the Buffalo Fanatics Multicast Network. I'm your host, Joe Miller, and my guy Clay Troy is coming up here in a minute. We're going to talk Steelers. Before we jump over to Clay, this is probably right, Triggs, 70-30, 65-35, right? But it shouldn't be all deep to intermediate throws. It needs to be, as John Fina said, and we've all talked about, those 2 to 4s, right? 1 to 3s. And the Bills are getting very good at doing wide receiver screens. You know, obviously the pop passes, the jet sweeps, things like that. Yes, there's a great deal, but this is a pass first team. This is a pass first football team. And I'm a little bit nervous. The only thing that I'm nervous about this weekend against the Steelers is the Steelers, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get there here in a second with Clay, is the Steelers have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think they're top 3. They're number 1. I've got a bunch of stats. I don't want to give it away yet because we're going to get there in a second. I have all the stats for their defense when we talk to Clay. I'm afraid that the Bills are going to come into this football game because of weather and feel like, well, we got to run the football. No, you don't. You don't have to run the football. Ben Roethlisberger has made a living in Pittsburgh not running the football. Tom Brady made a living in New England not throwing the football, right? Like Jim Kelly made a living in Buffalo not throwing the football. John Elway made a living in Denver not throwing the football. Or I'm sorry, not running the did I say not throwing the whole time? You know what I meant. Not running the football. They don't have to run the football. I don't know what I said there, but I think you know what. I think you got the point of what I was trying to say. Matthew Montgomery, thank you for the super chat, my guy. How about that new O-line combo this week? Allen had all day in the pocket, and if we keep that up, we're never losing a game. Matthew, this is what's up. So tomorrow, I already said it. I'm recording the Off Tackle with John Fina show tomorrow. It's going to drop on Friday morning. One of my questions for John Fina, former offensive tackle for the Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl year, is what he thought of that combination of Dawkins, Butker, Morse, Feliciano, and Williams. I want to know what he thought when he went back and reviewed. So stick around, or I should say tune in for that. This is what we're going to do. Clay, are you ready? Can you hear me, Clay? I got a thumbs up from Clay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in Clay right now, and we're going to transition over to Bills, Steelers football game. I got to do a couple quick things here. If I can figure out where they are, this is one of them. And then I can jump over to Clay. I can do this. Bang. Oh, that's not, we're way too close. Way too close. So there, we're getting closer. And then I got to get rid of this one. Oh, that ain't right. Something happened. That's what I want.
There we go.
Technology and Joe Miller. I'm old, in case anybody doesn't know that. So, Clay, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How are you? I'm having a great day myself.
Dude, I'm fired up, bro. Like, and the chat, dude. There's a whole bunch of people up in here. They've been in here since the jump, and they're just like, the comments are rolling. You're gonna have to do a lot of talking because I haven't been able to keep up with any of the comments.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Bills Mafia is on fire tonight, and I am getting better. It's true. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for noticing. This is not easy. I don't know how Rico does it. And I said the Rico name. Dang it. Now we're gonna get all the where's Rico comments. So Clay, my guy, you just got done recording your show, the Williams Counterpoint show, because you also got a cease and desist letter.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this Steelers game? We're going to start right there. How are you feeling right now? Because we've been talking, if you haven't, you jumped in about 5 minutes ago, backstage. We've been talking about the Bills Mafia being confident, getting to the point where we understand who we are as a football team, what we can expect, and no longer saying what the Bills have to do necessarily. This was a great comment. What the Bills have to do to beat the other team, but more what the other team has to do to beat us is kind of like where we're beginning to go as a fan base, no longer being afraid of prime time, no longer being afraid of a defense, no longer being afraid of an offense. How are you feeling? How is this game sitting with you right now?
I feel pretty good. I mean, it's absolutely a winnable game. The Bills just made a statement game on Monday Night Football against a very well coached team, a very well coached defense on both sides of the ball. There, they've got an offensive whiz in Kyle Shanahan, and they've got a head coaching candidate. He'll be a head coach next year in Robert Saleh on the defense. So it's a great, it was a really well coached team. We can argue about the players that were injured and everything, but that was a statement game that the Bills just went in there and performed. And if we want to talk, how are the Steelers going to beat the Bills? They have to figure out how to stop Josh Allen because he's red hot right now. And the biggest problem with the Steelers defense is they love playing man, and you can't do that against Josh Allen. I mean, we kind of saw, we saw weeks 1 through 4. Yep. That you can't play man against Josh Allen. The Seahawks tried to do it anyway, and it didn't go well for them either. So it's not something that can be done sustainably. You might be able to do like a little bit of a combo if you're trying to, get some of the not as good receivers. I mean, who are those? Maybe you can cover Gabe Davis man because he's a little slow in and out of his cut still, but you can't cover Beasley man to man, and you can't cover Diggs man to man. So I think it'll be interesting to see what the Steelers come out with their defensive game plan as to how they're going to stop Josh Allen. And we even saw on Monday night, Josh can do well against zone too. His numbers against zone were incredible. He was picking them apart. And he knew where he wanted to go with the ball right away a lot of the time. He read the coverage. He knew what was going on. He knew where his guy was going to be, and he would make the play fast. And when he didn't, he gets out of the pocket and he creates trouble for you. So if the Steelers want to beat the Bills, they have to stop Josh Allen. They have to contain him in the pocket, and they have to figure out how to slow him down in any capacity because he is red hot right now.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because, and Saleh, as much as I respect him, and I had a couple Niners guys tweet me during the football game, and I literally said, I respect this guy. Like, I have a ton of respect for Robert Saleh. It was so two things. Number one, and I put a tweet out there, and it didn't go viral, but it was close. It was just a picture of his face, not happy. And it was like, I just put on there that like, this is the greatest Wildcat offense I've ever seen. Because he said like they basically run a Wildcat, and it's like, bro, no,
where
the Bills don't run a Wildcat. Like Josh Allen had 9 rushes, and I think only one of them or 2 of them were like, none of them were designed other than like fourth and short, fourth and one, third and ones, and then he took off twice. But like, there's no Wildcat there. But what was interesting to me is like there was a couple plays early where they were playing man on the Bills, and Josh was beating them, and it was very much they backed up quick, and they're like, oh, let's not do that anymore. Like, it was obvious, and Josh just kept rolling. He was like, oh, you're gonna switch it on me? Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see because the Steelers have some injuries, and I'm going to jump ahead on our notes. The Steelers have some injuries on defense coming into this football game, to include Joe Hayden, which is big. Joe
Yes.
Hayden is. I remember watching a lot of Joe Hayden when he was on the Browns, and the Browns love Joe Hayden, and Browns fans love Joe Hayden. And then he went to Pittsburgh. He went to their arch enemies, which is funny. Talk to me about just some of the injuries that are on this defense real quick, and tell me what it looks like or what we can expect.
So the biggest injuries really, Bud Dupree, he went out recently. I believe he's on IR. I think that might be season ending for him. And then his replacement, who came in, stepped up. I can never remember his name. I'm so sorry, but his replacement came in, was playing well, and he got hurt as well. So now they're on their third string guy in a position of need, really. So that's going to be the biggest one to me. Joe Hayden is in concussion protocol, so there's a chance he plays, but I don't find it. It's not very common that those guys can come back from a concussion in 1 week or past that protocol. So Joe Hayden might be out too. It's not too bad on the defensive side. They have some guys that are coming back on offense too. They're starting to get healthy now as well. It's starting to get to that time where Spillane, thank you, Chris, in the comments there. Spillane was the one that filled in and was doing well. Devon Bush as well. I forgot about him. He also was, he was early in the season. He's out, but that's another difference maker on that defense as well that we don't have to deal with. Where was I going with this?
We're talking about the defensive players who are injured and how that's effectively going to affect us as far as open up that defense. As much as they're the number one scoring defense in the NFL, they're number one, and they're top 5, I believe, in passing top 5 in passing and somewhere around 10 for rushing. Yeah. It's going to affect them. The Bills are going to have opportunities. Not to mention, and I'm giving away the whole house here. Not to mention, there's an aspect to in the research that I did, the teams that they're beating. Most of them are not averaging over 20, 21 points a game. Right. So of the, what do they have, 11 wins? The 11 wins they have, it's like 7, 8, or 9 of the teams that they've beaten are not capable of scoring in the NFL right now, this is the most prolific offensive year in NFL history. The Bills are in that 29 to 30 point range. Like 8 or 9 of the teams that they've beaten so far can't score more than 20 points in a game, which says a lot. So what can we expect from this defense with the guys that are out? That was the question.
Yeah. So, they're still a good defense. They're very well coached as well. It's another one of those things where they're going to be very disciplined, and they still have a lot of good pieces on that defense too. Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, TJ Watt is looking really good this year. So there's still issues that they're going to have to deal with, and most of them are on that front. So I think the upfront blocking is going to be the most important thing on how to slow down that defensive line from getting to Josh Allen. So we might see a little bit of creativity from Dable. We've seen it before where he'll bring in an extra guy. He's not afraid to put Lee Smith in a fullback position, in a wingback position, to make sure that he's good to get in there and block. He's not afraid of putting even Gabriel Davis. He'll motion him into that spot as well, because he's been a great blocker for the team so far as well. So I think we'll see a little bit of creativity as far as that goes. We might see some plays early on where it's designed to get the ball out quick, just to make sure that the offensive line is warmed up and ready to go against those guys. But I think the defensive front is the most concerning thing to me on the Steelers defense.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Hump Day Hotline, Hump Day, on the Buffalo Fanatics podcast or multicast network. I keep saying podcast network, multicast network. Do me a favor. There's a whole bunch of folks up in here. Welcome to every single one of you. If you are new to the Hump Day Hotline, first thing we got to do is jump on that like button, hump that like button. There are 206 people watching on YouTube. I've got 89 likes. It's not hard. You just hit the thumbs up. Like it, get our metrics up, share this thing, and be a part of the conversation. If you've got a question, if you've got a comment you want to make, let your voice be heard. You guys pretty much control the show. We have notes, but at the end of the day, we want you guys to control the show. My name is Joe Miller. I'm the host of the show. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. It's right there. Is it over? Nope, it's over here, somewhere around there. I don't know. And joining me right now is Clay Troya, host of the Williams Counterpoint podcast that airs on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network. You can find him on Twitter at Clay Troya. And we're looking just for some sweet insight from Clay, because Clay does a great job, and that's what I'm going to say. That's why I love my guy Clay. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Your personal keys. See, you're getting ahead of me, Eric. We're going to get there, bro. Like, just give him a nugget. Give Eric a nugget, just because he wants to know personal keys. So just give Eric a little nugget.
For me, it's got a lot to do with how the Pittsburgh offense operates. They've been struggling recently, so a lot of it, a lot of what I think is the key is going to be more on the defensive side. We know what Josh Allen can do and what that offense can do. Sure, they're going against the best defense that they've faced, but they just played a great defense on Monday as well. So I think it has a lot to do with how do we force the Steelers to run the ball really is kind of one of my things.
Right. That literally, so that's good. Because that leads into what was my first question 11 minutes into having you on the show. We've covered some other stuff already, but my first question, for those that don't know, and it's been in the chat already, so I know that a lot of people do know, but I'm going to go there just because I've got this written down. James Conner is set to return. He's been activated off the COVID IR. We know about Big Ben and those wide receivers, but how do the Bills stop what should be a solid, balanced Pittsburgh attack? And do you see the Steelers, with the woes that they've had in passing with the drops, do you see them trying to go more run in this football game versus pass? Or do you see them sticking to who they are, which is throw the ball 1,000 times? Like, no, we just throw the ball. That's what we do. What do you see with Conner coming back? Where do you see that landing?
I think they're going to run it a little bit more. They're definitely going to try to establish it. Their run game to me feels a lot like ours, where we don't really need to run the ball because we've been passing so effectively. That's been the case for them for most of the season, but that run game is really starting to affect them now because the pass game's starting to drop off a little bit and they have nothing to fall back on. So right. Where the Bills have kind of picked up in their run game a little bit, the Steelers are still falling behind. James Conner coming back is definitely going to be an improvement for them just because he is the best running back on the roster. And I think on top of that, if Pouncey, the center, comes back, he was on the COVID list. If he comes back as well, that's another big step forward for that offensive front in creating the run game. So I do think it's going to be. We'll see more runs than usual, I think. But really, the Bills, I don't think should have too much of a problem just because that Steelers run game really has not been too much to worry about so far.
Real quick, if you're going to pick your poison, are you going to make the Steelers run against you? Or are you going to make them, and I think you may have answered this a little bit, but I'm going to ask it again. Pick your poison. Are you going to make them run against you? Are you going to make them pass against you?
I would much rather have them run the ball. If they're running the ball, 20, 30 times, that's a win. If we can keep big, because Ben Roethlisberger has the most pass attempts in the league right now. So they've just been passing it and they've won games doing it. They've had a lot of success doing it. So really what they need to do is force them to run the ball. If they can force the Steelers to run, if they can make, Ben Roethlisberger uncomfortable in the pocket. And I mean, you can't, I know we're probably going to talk about this too, but there's a lot of good pass catchers on the team too. So you can't really stop all those guys at one time. But yeah, I'd be very happy if I saw the Steelers running the ball a lot.
Did you see Tomlin's comments today about the pass catchers that haven't been catching passes?
I watched the press conference. Which quote, which soundbite are you referring to here?
If a team that has, it's Deontay Johnson, right? Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, this Claypool kid who's unbelievable. Ray McLeod, which they were errantly
Ray McDonald.
Yes, Ray McDonald. Who they errantly. Well, that makes it make sense because earlier today they said that on one of the programs I was listening to that they've drafted all these guys. I'm like, not that guy. So maybe they meant Ray McDonald. I don't know. But the Tomlin basically said if these guys don't start catching passes, we're going to find guys that will. And it's like, wow, shots fired. Like, holy crap. Thoughts on those comments?
I like it. I mean, that's just the way that Tomlin coaches. I think it was Bruce
James Washington, not Deontay Washington. My bad. So it's Deontay Johnson, isn't it? Is it Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson, James Washington, Chase Claypool, Juju.
Sorry.
But yeah. I think it might have been Bruce who tweeted something earlier where he says, Sean McDermott at his press conference has Belichick on one side and Tomlin on the other, doing the little talking into his ear, and he had a little bit of that too when he benched Zach Moss because he fumbled the ball, and then he said in the press conference, I benched Zach Moss because he fumbled the ball, and that's just the way that Tomlin is. That was his Tomlin coming out there, and he's not afraid to call out his guys, especially when they're not performing, and when you're winning games too, it works because it's that you lost your first game. Your guys have been struggling with catching the ball. They have the highest drops in the league. I think they're 30 plus at this point on the season, which is just that is a lot of drops.
Yeah, lot.
So sometimes it's best if you call your guys out, and those are competitive. Those guys are competitors. They're great athletes. Oh, Bruce is here. Hi, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is in the room. Yeah. So what's interesting about what you just said about the 33 drops is Roethlisberger is still completing at 67%, which is a high clip in general. Now, Josh Allen is higher than him right now, but 67% with 33 drops at this point, which means that he's put the ball on him. Right, is what that means. So, and we've talked a lot. I've talked a lot on my shows just about drop percentages and where Josh would be if the Bills hadn't led the league in 18 and 19 in drops and blah 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 blah, which is interesting. I love what you said just about make them run. My concern is that they're going to allow them to run the way that they allowed the Chiefs to run, which was basically Edwards-Helaire running through holes that are as wide as my house. It's like, I mean, Edwards-Helaire after the game was like, I've never seen holes that big. And like, I don't want to live in that world. Right. I don't want to live in that world. Brian Bauer says, well, if I'm the Steelers, I'm targeting the hell out of Levi Wallace, shaking my head. I'm done with that guy. I want to see more of Dane Jackson. I want to see more of Dane as well. Don't answer yet. Bruce Nolan's in the house, and I'm going to plug Bruce because I love Bruce. Bruce and I are friends. Bruce is doing, and I've seen some of his pre-work with some of the tape that he's doing. He's going to be talking about, I believe, on one of his shows, and he can confirm or deny. He can plug his own show in the chats, his own podcast. He's been doing tape work, film work on Levi Wallace. There are other programs out there, and there's other shows out there, and there's other content creators out there that are trying to sell the narrative that Levi Wallace is playing well. To which I responded to one of them, well, if you're looking for a guy to tackle the guy after he catches the ball, yeah, he's doing great. But if you're looking for a guy to be a risk for a quarterback, in my opinion, the cornerback, his main job is to make the quarterback think for a second. Do I want to throw at that guy or do I want to throw at that guy? Well, that guy, Trey, I got a lot of risk. And that guy, I don't want there to be zero risk. It seems like with Levi Wallace, there's zero risk to throw at Levi Wallace versus going, I'm not going to throw at Trey because there's like 80% risk, 90% risk. I'm going to throw at Levi because there's 30% risk. Does that make sense? Versus, no, that guy's going to be open because he's not going to cover him. He's just going to try to tackle him after it's over. What do we do in this situation? Is it time to see Dane Jackson? Because he's made plays, limited time, made more plays on the ball than Levi. What are your thoughts on Brian's point here?
I like Dane Jackson as well. I was calling for Dane Jackson during the game on Monday. I was saying we gotta call him up next week. I'm excited for that.
There it is. Tune in, Bills Mafia. If you're not listening to podcasts, start right there.
But yeah, I also want to see a little bit of Dane Jackson. I think I haven't looked into the film as much as Bruce has. I'm sure he's been really diving into it. I saw him tweet about how that was going. But yeah, so I think I would like to see some other options at least. But the thing is you kind of made that point. If you're playing on the other side of Tre'Davious White, you're going to get the bulk of the targets. So you have to be ready to take a lot of targets in a game. So, I mean, would he be doing better maybe if he had a guy that was not as good on the other side of the field? I think we wouldn't be complaining about Levi Wallace as much. That's but because he is in that spotlight with Tre'Davious White, you don't want to target him. So, I mean, I would be interested in seeing, at least Dane Jackson. I don't think Josh Norman's the answer either. He's a pretty old.
Really where I was going. I was going with Chris Jenkins' comment. I'm glad you said that. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think we should see not Josh Norman either. I mean, maybe give him a shot if Levi really screws something up in the game, because I think Josh Norman's been dressing at least and getting out on the field on the sidelines. But yeah, I don't feel too confident in Levi. He's not the worst corner ever. He's no what was that guy's name? Justin Rogers. Do you remember that guy? Carlos Rogers? What was his name? The worst cornerback ever that played for the Bills a while ago.
Somebody's gonna throw in there. I just blanked because I read this. And I have a comment on Richard Rush's comment. Joe and Clay, I want my DBs to lead the league in pass breakups, not tackles. And this was the point that was being made on Twitter this week. It's rare, uncommon, and not likely that you're going to have two Pro Bowl cornerbacks on a football team. I'm not asking for two Pro Bowl cornerbacks. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm just asking for a guy that's not going to tackle the dude after he caught the ball. I'm looking for a guy to make a break on a ball. Do you remember how good is your memory last year? Do you remember all the games last year?
Yeah, for the most part. I watched a lot of the film during the offseason. So
Josh Allen drives the field against the Browns in a game that they should have ran the ball the whole game because the Browns' rush defense was horrible.
Yeah, I remember.
The Bills come out and they throw the ball 40-something times, which back then we lived in a space where it's clearly Josh Allen cannot throw the ball 40 times in a game and we can win. but that's what they did. However, Josh Allen drives the field. We take the lead in the fourth quarter. Then the Browns come back. Do you remember what happened? There was a key play. Do you remember what happened and who missed swatting the ball away from a receiver in that football game that basically led to them like getting their go up score?
Oh yeah. Remember? Yeah. Levi was terrible that whole game. I was at that game. It was really bad.
He did it again in the 49ers game. That ball, like it just right by his hand. It's like, how does he need glasses? Like, is his prescription bad? Get that man some rec specs. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and the problem with him is he plays really soft coverage. I know that's the design of the system is to not, you want to play soft until the ball's thrown, and then you close.
Break.
He just doesn't close. He's doing a really good job of the playing soft thing. You just got to work on the closing part. Thank you, Chris. I knew someone would have it. Justin Rogers. I just remember him being the actual worst corner I've ever seen. I'm glad we don't have him. It's not him. At least he's better than that. But yeah,
he can tackle. He can definitely tackle. He's not afraid to tackle. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see what else we got. Dane can tackle too. We saw him making some nice hits. Even if Cam Lewis was healthy, I'd say I would give Cam Lewis a shot.
But Dane is making breaks on the football, right? I mean, and that's what it is. He's making plays on the football. And I'm not saying that, like, I would rather have a guy that's making plays on the football that misses a tackle once in a while, and then Mike has to come over, or Poyer has to come over once in a while and like make the tackle. I would prefer that over like catch, tackle, catch, tackle, catch, tackle, catch. I don't know how many people notice this. Levi Wallace led the team in tackles in Monday Night's football game because his guy caught the football every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. And it's like, no, bro, your job is to keep that from happening. Like, yes, you're supposed to tackle, you're supposed to keep it in front of you, but you got to like make it. Anyways, that's all I was looking for. This one I'm looking for. Matthew Montgomery, thank you for the super chat. We keep talking about Josh Allen's ceiling. Well, we haven't been talking about it, but yes, we do talk about it a lot. Was last night a ceiling? So Monday night's a ceiling performance for Josh Allen. I personally think he can actually get better. This is a fun topic for me because I said all of last year. So Clay, your podcast started this year, which year to year is fun. It's fun to kind of grow in this thing. And you'll remember things that you say the year before. Last year for me, all of last year, when people were starting to get, I don't want to say, what's the word? Bills Mafia was still not where we are right now on Josh Allen. It was still very split. And I said, people need to be patient with this kid. Mid-season 2020 is when we'll know what we have at Josh Allen. We'll know if he is, and there's people in this chat that have been listening to me since last year. I've done podcasts with Bruce and I've said the same thing. Game 8. By game 8, we'll know, is Josh Allen the guy? Is he not the guy? Like, is Josh Allen the guy? Is he not? Or is he showing flashes? Has he progressed? Has he regressed? Bruce Nolan said before the season started that if he plateaus, that's actually a regression, to which I agreed with. We're living in a space now where Josh Allen, I don't know that his ceiling has been reached, right? However, even in this football game, that was probably the best game that Josh played against the 49ers. He's had bigger stats, but that command was there. That control was there. His stats could have been even better. If you just take Lee Smith, that first drive, and I put it in the Fanatics chat today, and I don't know how many people got it. People are like, oh, I take it you don't like Lee Smith. No, it wasn't that. So if you can see my fingers, defender, wait, which finger? This finger, defender running, right? Lee Smith trailing the defender in the end zone. And Josh Allen's like, no, stop. And he throws the ball. Lee Smith keeps going. The dude has no spatial awareness. And it's like, Josh Allen, that probably was the best football game that he's played to date, even though the numbers weren't like crazy, 500 yards. Because let's be honest, 500 yards and 6 TDs might not be your ceiling. You might be trying to come from behind, right? It might be garbage time. Right. But that dude was. What are your thoughts on a Josh Allen ceiling? Like, talk to me about it.
I mean, I don't think he's hit it yet. I do think Monday was probably his best game that we've seen him play. The Miami game for me is up there as well. His stats were a little bit better, but he was hitting. Yes. Yeah. And he was making some different kinds of throws in the Miami game. I think the only reason I like the Miami game so much is because he was hitting those passes that we hadn't seen him throw before. Those really nice touch passes to Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley down the sideline, and he bombed one to John Brown.
It was the one in the Chargers where it was the screen pass to Chargers where the blitz came and he just lopped it out there. Yeah, lopped it out there, and like Devon hadn't even come out of his turn yet, and like the ball was in the air. That stuff. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So but I definitely think Monday night was one of his top 2 games. So, and I don't think it was his ceiling. I think he could play better. He didn't need to play any better than that. And he almost had a perfect game. All of his passes were super crisp. There was really not any throws where I was like, whoa, what are you doing? There was one, Fred Warner tipped a ball. He just didn't see him underneath. He was trying to rifle it into Diggs. There's a penalty on that play anyway. I think that was the Richard Sherman held Diggs because he was going to get burned by him. But I think he was just in the zone. And when he gets in the zone like that, he's going to hit most of his passes, even when he's rolling out to the right there. I don't remember who the color commentator was there, but he could not get enough of Josh Allen rolling out to the right. And
it was Riddick.
Right, yeah, rightfully so, because he was hitting from that type of a play where he rolls out. He's been doing it forever. But he did that. And he was making crisp passes from inside the pocket, and he was making smart decisions. Like everything was, I really can't talk enough about how good of a performance that was from him.
No, the rolling out to the right thing, he was doing it a lot the first 4 games of the season, and he was like killing people. And then all of a sudden defenses focused on not letting him get out to his right. And that was, I don't remember, he had a couple hero balls where he wasn't getting his hips turned as he was rolling to his left and threw a couple bad passes. And then he got that fixed. And now it's like, he's an incredible specimen. Let's get back to the Steelers game. So Claypool has shined in this offense. Juju seems to be a victim of his success, in my opinion. I guess the question is, and this is a question we asked about these wide receivers that we have on the Buffalo Bills. Are there enough balls to go around in that offense for the Steelers? Like, is that what the problem is going on? Like, they've got a lot of star talent, a lot of star power in the wide receiver group. Obviously, they're dropping footballs right now. But it seems like Claypool is the guy right now. Has the number one changed, or is it still – do you think it's still Juju? It's
still Juju. I think he's still the number one guy. He's got the most experience. I don't know if he's necessarily the best wide receiver, but I still think he is. He's considered the number one guy there. And yeah, Claypool is a freak. He can have those crazy games. He had a 4-touchdown game earlier this season. So, when you do things like that, you kind of are – you're showing that you can pretty much do anything you want in any given game. But yeah, he's been dropping passes. Deontay Johnson has really been the one who's been dropping the most passes. Gotcha. So I kind of think that that the drops have really just been the only thing that I can think of that I've seen kind of externally of why they're having so much trouble with those wide receivers. I don't think I really think that they're doing fine in the pass game. Ben Roethlisberger's throwing the ball okay, but they just need to catch all the passes, and they need to be able to run the ball sometimes. The thing about the Bills is, we can pass the ball all we want, but when we run the ball sometimes and do that effectively, that's when the Bills are really at their best, when they have a little bit of variety in there. And, we saw that on Monday night. Josh Allen was able to have the game that he had because we didn't have to force any pass plays when we didn't need to. We were able to run the ball every now and then.
Right. The weather report right now is calling for, I just looked at it and I forgot already, 46 degrees on Sunday at the stadium in Orchard Park. I live in Hamburg, so I'm 5 minutes from there, and a 50% chance of rain. There's been a lot of talk this week just about Josh Allen and weather and just like the Bill, so going back to the Chiefs game. Well, there was a weather game, so the Bills had to run and blah, 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 blah. And what's funny about that is Josh Allen threw his first 400-yard game in the rain in Miami. And it's I don't think the rain is the problem. So what do you expect to see from this Bills offense on Sunday? Do you expect to see the Bills come in and be like, okay, so the Steelers are number 1 in pass defense and they're number 10 in run defense, or they're averaging giving up 100 yards a game. The Bills are averaging 92 a game. So that's actually more than their average. How do you think the Bills are? Do you think they're going to focus on the run, or do you think they're going to attack the Steelers? Do you think they're going to do what I think they should do, which is come out and throw the ball, throw the ball and then set it up to run? Yeah,
that's what I was going to say too. I think you should come out firing. That's your strength, is throwing the ball. I think it was Joe B said it best: establish the pass. Get out there and throw the ball, because that's what you're good at. Make them scared that you're going to throw deep on you. That'll open up the run game. It's backwards land for this offense here, because that pass game is so effective. So, I don't think it matters how good of a pass defense they are. Go out there, do what your strength is. And, if you play it right, if you coach your guys up right and go in with the right game plan, you can beat them. It doesn't matter to me how good your pass defense is. The Bills can beat anyone. I said it last week, and I'll say it, until the Bills until the last game of the season for the Bills. The only team that can beat the Bills are themselves right now. They can beat any other team in the league unless they shoot themselves in the foot, and that's going to be the only thing that stops them.
Right. If the Buffalo Bills, I hope they learned. Every time this offense needs to find a rhythm, they start going to Cole Beasley early underneath. Not early, but they start going to Cole Beasley underneath. It worked against the Niners game early. If the Bills come out of this football game against the Steelers and start hitting Beasley underneath early and finding rhythm, I might have to pause the game and run around my block, because to me, that's a signal that this is about to go down. Jeff King coming in big time with a super chat. Jeff, we appreciate you more than you know. I don't think we have even begun to see Josh's ceiling. The man has been shunned his whole career. I love seeing him give every sports reporter a big FU. I have said it a lot. I've said it on my show, and the NFL, American sports in general, is always about the story. It's always about, and I don't mean to get sentimental, but it's always about like the story. That's what the whole 30 for 30s are about. And that's what like all those things are about. Like, what's the story? And there's going to be a 30 for 30 on Josh Allen if that program still exists. Because if there's a story that the national media should be covering, it's this kid. I mean, you're talking about a kid. I mean, so, I don't, like I said, I don't want to get sentimental, and like, not that I'm going to cry, but like those of us that love sports and grew up playing sports all know the feeling of not being the best player on the team, right? Or being a kid and like collecting baseball cards or football cards and like being, 3 rows deep when the player's down front signing autographs and you can't get to Jim Kelly or you can't get to whoever your favorite player is. And you're younger than me. I don't know who that was for you, but there's always that feeling. So like, even going back to the Raiders game, when you see that picture of Josh Allen and Derek Carr, and then you hear the follow-up story that Josh Allen was put on the field of kids that like don't have talent, right? Hey, the kids that are good, we're going to put with Derek so Derek can like hang out with them. And the kids that are like, they're fun and they love they love being here. Like we're going to put them with over there on the other field. Every single step of the way, Josh Allen, like from high school to JUCO, the only offer he had was Wyoming. Coming out of Wyoming, like people have feasted on this kid, not on his carcass because he's very much thrived, but they have tried to feed on this kid like piranha for like 2.5, 3 years. It's still going on. Like they had Mel Kiper on ESPN, I think today, right? Talking about,
I saw that.
Mel, you've been backing this kid forever. Like, why? And Mel was roasting him, like just roasted him. I just don't get this. I don't understand. If there's a story, we all love them. Like even the players that we hate, they build this whole narrative thing and they put the story out there before the game and we all fawn. Oh, what a great story about Brian Cox. I hate Brian Cox, but what a great story about how he grew up in a bad area and whatever. And his dad left when he was a kid and his mom died and blah, blah, blah. And he had to raise his family. You know what I'm talking about? But not Josh Allen. Josh Allen is like, he has a road to perdition and like, all they want to do is like, just pound him into the dirt. And I just don't get it. Like, I'll get off my soapbox, but you can talk about this.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing about, Allen, Trent Dilfer said as he was coming out of the draft, he got told no 998 times. All he has heard is no from everybody. You can't do it. You're not good enough. You're not going to be able to make it at the next level. And they've been saying that since high school. You're not going to be able to make it at the next level. So he went to JUCO, and a lot of guys said, you're not going to be able to make it at the next level, at the D1 level. He went there and he did it. And now he's in the NFL and he's doing it. Because his internal voice is always, yes, I can.
That's right.
And I will. And I think that's the reason, Josh Allen is not the rule. He's the exception.
He's the exception.
Where guys that come into the league and start slow like that and have those bad numbers, I saw someone talking about it, how people are going to be comparing, young raw quarterbacks to Josh Allen forever now, because they're like, well, can they develop? And the answer most of the time is going to be no, because the reason that Josh Allen developed is because he put in the work. He's so determined to get better. And every year he goes into the offseason and he meets with his quarterback coach, Jordan Palmer. That's and right. they find something to work on and they attack it. And he comes out the next season a completely different player, which is exactly what we saw going from year 1 to year 2, and then again from year 2 to year 3.
Yep. And now he's going game to game, or he started going game to game this season. He was doing a little bit last year, game to game, where he would like, I got a problem, I got to fix it. He'd fix it for the next game, and now he's mid game. So like literally now, now it's I can play against man, can't play against zone. And now it's like they started man against me. Now they switch to zone. I'm going to switch too, and I'm going to beat them. Like, it's just, to me, this story, it's just an amazing story. And for all intents and purposes, it's a story that the national media should be every single person should want this kid to succeed, because he is all of us. He's all of us that were too small. Yeah. All of us that weren't fast enough. All of us that weren't strong enough. All of us that were told no. All of us. I was told before I went to college, I had to have a recommendation, like from like a person. The person that wrote my recommendation literally slid the paperback over to me and said, I've filled out your recommendation. It's positive. I just want you to know, I don't see you ever working in this industry, like, ever. And I was like, oh, thanks. And lo and behold, I am now, and I'm crushing it. Josh Allen is every single one of us. He wasn't gifted, given, or rolled in on a chariot ever once in his life. Never once. And I love this story. I love him. And it's just, look at that.
Oh, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the story's only going to get better because the national media still is not believing.
Clay, you're Josh Allen, by the way. Nobody gave you a shot either.
Yeah, come on. No, but yeah, the story's just going to keep getting better because, the national media still is not going to believe in him, and the more he does to prove them wrong, I don't think people are going to believe until he wins his second Super Bowl. He's going to win one, and people are still going to be like, there was a fluke. He didn't, it's not the real thing. They're not going to believe him until he gets his second one.
Right. No, I agree with you. So I've got a question for you that I don't think I sent you in the notes, which is something I always love to do with guests. So, which I think you got used to last week.
Yeah.
When I did that to you. If the Bills win against the Steelers, I've already said that I believe they're going to run the table. And this is an easy answer. So this is the softball. So the softball is, if the Bills win, are they for real?
Oh, absolutely. And Dan Orlovsky was, on air, slamming his fists on the table saying, how many prove it games do the Bills have to win before they've proved it? Because he was saying Monday, that was a prove it game. They played a really good Rams team. That was a prove it game. They played a great Raiders team. That was a prove it game. How many games against teams that are over 500 and in the playoff picture do the Bills have to beat before people start believing that they're the real deal? And I think this might be the final nail in the coffin where it's like, okay, but then again, still, they just lost to the Washington football team, so people are gonna be like, "Well, they just lost to them. They're frauds anyway." So,
dude, freaking Good Morning Football Tuesday morning gave the Bills 90 seconds, and the next hour was the Steelers, and it's just like, you've got to be kidding me. Jeff King is about to make me run around the block. I'm gonna pause the show. Joe Miller, well said. We all love the Rudy story. That's it. That's the difference. Is Josh Allen made it to the pros. Like, he made it to the next level.
Josh Allen movie. It's going to be amazing.
If you don't want the Rudy story, you're just a douchebag. And I said the word. It's true. Great show, guys. Thank you. On my fourth Jameson, so I'm being generous. Keep them coming, bro. Dude, I'm Irish. I'm all about it. So keep that coming. So the second half of that question about if the Bills win, are they for real, is this. If the Bills lose to a game that doesn't really matter. So, I mean, there's, for all intents and purposes, if they lose to the Steelers, it's the last hard game on their schedule, potentially. If the Bills lose in this game, are they any less for real?
No. I mean, it depends how the game goes as well. If it's a terrible loss, I might say we need to figure some stuff out, because we have more games that we need to win in order to make the playoffs. But so, if it's a blowout, then maybe there's cause for concern. But any other score, if it's a 10-point game or less, then I think, it's no cause for concern. The Steelers are a good team. They're a well-coached team. They're coming off of their first loss of the season, and that's going to be a huge motivating factor for them. They're an undefeated team that just lost their first game in December. So, think about how amped up these guys are going to be, especially since these Buffalo Bills came into their house last year and clinched a playoff spot. Renegade played and they went crazy, and we went down the field and we scored a touchdown. So, I mean, they're going to have all the motivation in the world to win this game. As far as motivation and mindset goes, I think the Steelers are in the better position because the Bills are coming off of a very impressive win. They might be a little too confident right now coming into the Steelers game. So I think if they lose, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem.
That's a hot take right there.
I mean, Sean McDermott can keep you as level as you want, but I don't think, there is, to an extent, a level of confidence that can be dangerous. If you're too confident, that's not good. You need to humble yourself. And I think, this might be a chance where they go in too cocky and they get humbled.
Yeah. Bruce Nolan, if you're not drinking Irish whiskey and super chatting, I'm not sure you're doing Hump Day Hotline correctly. Hey, I am Irish, if you haven't noticed. So it is what it is. So the jig is up. The news is out. They finally found me, in case anybody's wondering. So those are the words to Renegade. Under over that they play that song. If the Bills are winning Sunday night,
they better be winning by a lot to play that song.
There's still fans in the stands, but are they playing that song?
They can't play that song unless it's the game's over, it's the fourth quarter and they're up by like 20 points. Do not play that song, because that would piss off the Steelers so much. They'd probably start a riot.
I don't remember which game it was. It was one of the Patriots games. It might have been the 31-0 game because I went to that game, the Sam Adams game, and I believe they played Sweet Caroline at the end of the game. Sweet Caroline. Yeah. The crowd was it was like 80,000 people had been drinking.
The Sam Adams game, or was it the Drayton Florence game? Sam
Adams game. I was not at the Drayton Florence game.
Okay, I think I was at the Drayton Florence game. I think they played it after that too.
You gotta love it when the Bills troll people. Like when the guy in the booth playing songs just trolls people. It's just awesome. Great. I don't have any questions left. And before I open it up to the crowd, I got a bunch of stats, and I sent all these stats to you. So I did a bunch of research for you, which was good. Just because I knew you were going into your podcast recording with the Steelers people. Yes. Tell us real quick about the show that you've got coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a really cool show. It didn't come out today. I know usually I post my stuff on Wednesday. It's usually out middle of the night on Wednesday morning there. But this week I got a little delayed because my guest had a better schedule for him to interview today. And that guest was Arthur Moats, former Bill, former Steeler, current Steelers podcaster. So that was a lot of fun talking to him. And let me tell you, he is the nicest dude in the world. He has a bunch of accolades for all the off the field stuff that he's done. He's a great guy, and it was a really good conversation. It floats so well. Like, I honestly forgot halfway through that I was talking to a former NFL player. It just felt like I was, hanging out with somebody that I was catching up with after years. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to be able to talk to him, and that one's going to get posted. I'm still in the works editing that one because we just recorded at 6:30.
Come here.
Yeah, I know. So I'm pretty much just going to edit that, post it, and go to bed. But yeah, that'll be up. That'll be up later tonight. So if you don't have anything going on tomorrow, your morning commute in or something like that, give that a listen, because that was a lot of fun.
Did you ask him about his claim to fame?
I didn't. No. I figured he probably gets asked that too. I'm assuming you're talking about which claim to fame are you talking about?
The only one he has, ending Brett Favre's career.
Okay, yeah, I didn't ask him about that. I figured he probably gets asked about that too much. And
what's it like being the guy that ended?
Yeah,
Brett
I know.
Favre's
You can't ask him about that. He's such a nice guy too. As soon as he joined in the StreamYard chat, he was just a smile across his face the whole time.
Good.
Yeah, awesome dude.
That's good stuff. Questions that you have for me? Do you have any questions for me coming about the Steelers game? I never get to get asked questions.
Yeah, really. That's true. I mean, how are you feeling about it in general? Because I know, that's something that you usually ask to other people. How do you feel about the game in general going into it?
I feel a little sideways. And the reason that I feel sideways is because what I normally predict doesn't happen. And so, like, we came off of the show last week about the 49ers, and I said stack and tackle, right? And then I said get Josh in rhythm early, throwing the football, and then counter it with a run. And they did that. They won. And I was like, oh, like they literally did what I said to do. So like I have a little reservation. So was I lucky, or did I know what I was talking about? I hope the Bills don't overthink the weather in this football game. That's my biggest concern. Is I hope that this doesn't turn into a run pass. It's just not who they are. And there were some interesting comments that came out from Dable. I don't know if it was today or Monday, where he's basically said, or I heard it somewhere, that the 4 wide thing didn't even come about until preseason. Like that wasn't even necessarily something they didn't want to do spread. Like it wasn't even on the radar until they started doing spread in preseason and realized their defense was having trouble with it. And they were like, oh, okay. That's interesting. To me, that's just who they are. To me, I've said it. You've heard me say it 100 times. Josh Allen is a pass first quarterback. That's what he is. And the Bills, this offense is a pass first offense. I want to see them come out, and I want to see them do what they did against the 49ers are a good defense. I think it's right there with Steelers defense. The difference is they don't have T.J. Watt, right? T.J. Watt is going to be that T.J. Watt Williams. Somebody put it in the chat a while ago. T.J. Watt versus Williams is going to be something we're going to have to watch a little bit. You might see Lee Smith in this football game. That's probably coming off that Niners game. The only man, as teams adapt and they morph, the adaptation that I liked the most about the 49ers game is that Lee Smith was in that game. He was not a scratch. He was active, and they still did Buffalo Bills Josh Allen things. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't Lee Smith's in the game, we got to run the ball 75 times. It's like fourth tackles in the game or third tackles in the game. So if that makes sense. So I think that Lee Smith is going to be in this football game, which he brings a measure of attitude, a little bit of personality, a little bit of swag to him, which is good. What do I think? Does this game scare me? No, I think the Bills, I'm confident. I'm very confident that the Bills can win this football game. More confident in the Bills because of, I'm confident because of two things. Number one, first, because I believe in who the Bills are. I believe in who the Bills are, and I've seen enough from this Bills offense to know they're going to score 30 points, if that helps, regardless of what the Steelers do. So the Bills defense is going to come out. They're going to continue to stack on top of what they've been doing. I'm a little worried about Levi Wallace with this wide receiver core. However, they're probably going to go nickel like a lot, 5 DBs on the field a ton. I'd like to see more Dane Jackson. Somebody put in the chat that he can't come back unless it's COVID related or something like that. Or he's
if he comes back, he has to clear waivers unless they sign with the active roster. So it'd be kind of a process to bring him back up, which sucks.
I also, as much as it's also been in the chat tonight, that the Steelers have been underrated, which I don't know how that's possible when they're undefeated until last weekend. They are, to me, the weakest. They were the weakest undefeated team I'd ever seen. Like, and as I was doing the research for this show tonight, which we didn't get into a lot of it, just their opponents that they beat this year: the Giants averaging 19 points per game, the Broncos averaging 18.8 per game, the Texans averaging 24 points per game. When the Steelers beat the Texans, they were only averaging 20. The Eagles averaging 21 points a game, the Cowboys averaging 22 points a game, the Bengals averaging 19 points a game, the Jags averaging 20 points a game. I don't know that they've seen an offense like the Bills yet. And that, to me, gives me confidence that I think this Buffalo, I'm confident in this game this weekend. That's where I'm at right now. I'm confident. Even with the rain, even with the weather, I think the Bills come out and they do Buffalo Bills things. Where's your confidence level at?
I'm pretty confident as well. I'm a little on the fence on who's actually going to win the game, just because I feel like that mentality factor from the Steelers. I agree, Jay Spence. Just because I think the mentality factor from the Steelers could play a role in the game, because it's a revenge game against the Bills on Sunday night, just like last year, and they're coming off that first loss, and those receivers just got called out by their coach. So I feel like they're probably going to end up having some of the better games that they've had, just because when you get called out by your coach like that, you gotta show up the next week, or you might actually get benched. Is it
going to hurt him, or is it going to hurt him or help him? That's the question.
Oh, I think it's going to help him. I just, especially with a wide receiver dropping footballs, the reason that they're doing it, especially, Deontay Johnson's the guy that's really been the worst culprit of it. He's trying to run before he's got the ball in his hands. It's a really simple fix. Just catch the ball. Yeah. Just catch the ball first. And, I think he'll be able to focus in on that. These guys are competitors. They play at the highest level. I don't think their feelings are going to get hurt too much.
Yeah, Josh Allen stat line. So everybody in the chat, give me a Josh Allen stat line, and Clay, give me the Josh Allen stat line too.
Well, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again because it worked out well. I'm going to say 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's exactly what I said last week, and he ended up having his best game ever. So, going into it, it was like, I think that's reasonable. They're going up last week. They were going up against the top 5 passing defense. So I was like, okay, 250 and 2 touchdowns. I'd be happy with that. It's the same thing with this. It's the number 2 passing defense in the league. If he can put up 250 and 2 touchdowns, and we can have any amount of a run game, I think that's a winnable game at that point still.
I think Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, shocked them this weekend, and I think Josh Allen throws for about 325, 3 touchdowns. I think he has another rushing touchdown, and I think with that, I think the Bills probably put about 135 yards rushing on them. So I think the Bills are rolling, and as much as I don't have a concern about them being overconfident until you said it. I don't think they are. I think humble and hungry is the word. I love, as much as they're campy, and I hate we're going to go into the locker room and hear coaches like post-game speech, and they never let you hear the whole thing. So they give you a snippet of it, and then it's like they break it down. But coach asked the question at the beginning of it. I don't know if you saw it. He said, how many is that? It was 9, right? 9 wins. And Josh Allen yells, not enough. Not enough.
Yeah, that's true. I do like Josh Allen's mentality. He's always saying, we're not in the playoffs yet. We've only got 9 wins. We need more wins. So his mentality has been great. He's such a good leader and everything like that. But he's not the whole team. There's other guys on the team that might be a little, a little more confident than he is, and kind of losing track of reality a little bit.
Yeah, 325, 3 touchdowns in the air for Josh Allen, and 135 on the ground. Is what I'm going to say, and they can give it to whoever they want. I know Zach Moss is in the doghouse a little bit right now, and Coach called him out.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Eric, once again, thanks for the super chat. Just be careful with Fitzpatrick coming from Miami. Oh yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick is legit.
Mm-hmm.
He's really
he's amazing. I would say he's probably the biggest threat on that defense.
Yeah, he may have some keys for the Pitt D and O line. Yes, you're correct, Eric. However, if there was ever a team that Josh Allen owns, it's the Dolphins, and Minka was on that football team. So yes, he's going to be able to give them some insight. But even with that insight, Josh Allen's a different player right now than he was in 2018. Like, he's a totally different football player than he was in 2018. He was wrong. He was drop back and go. It wasn't even he didn't give time for the guys to run routes. It was like, I'm gone. Like, it was so different. Final score prediction. Everybody in the chat, give me a final score prediction. What's your final score prediction there, Clay?
I'm going to go with I'll go with 28-24. I said Steelers earlier, but I'm going to say Bills now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of people last week, and I think you were one of them, said 27-17, to which I was like, wait, the same scores against like the Chargers?
I had the point differential, right?
And like literally there was a moment or two there where it was going to be 27-17 or 27-17. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was like, they can't score anymore. Stop scoring.
I was like, it's going to happen twice.
Yeah.
I think the Bills get 32. I think the Bills get get around their point total. I've been calling one possession games, and it seems like every time I call the Bills in a one possession game, they end up at multiple possessions. But I'm probably gonna say 32-27. I think that I think James Conner's gonna have a good football game by design. I think they're gonna let him run. But I think that the Bills are gonna try to lock down Ben and see, and they might be able to get to Ben this week because Ben is not mobile. Like that dude. You want to talk about Drew Bledsoe cement shoes? Ben Roethlisberger has Drew Bledsoe cement shoes.
Drew Bledsoe, Kyle Orton, which Kyle Orton I think is the worst I've ever seen.
No, it was Bledsoe. The difference between Bledsoe and everybody else, he never fell down. Like everybody, he had like 4 defenders on him, and he like would not fall down. But I liked Kyle Orton. Spence knows that. Like I
liked Orton. It's just watching him try to move was hilarious. It really looked like his legs weighed like 100 pounds each. It's funny to watch.
It was funny to watch. We have about 7 minutes left in this show. Ben is a statue. It's true, but he's a dangerous statue.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions, comments that you want to ask myself or Clay before we let you go? Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Hump Day Hotline. There's 244 people up in this mug. I've got 138 likes on YouTube. There's 208 watching on YouTube. Do me a favor, jump on that like button, hump that like if you have not already. But questions that you guys have for us. I hate how much Joe loves Orton. When you live in quarterback purgatory, like, here's the thing. So I grew up teenager to early 20s, formative years, Jim Kelly, like, right? So a lot of Bills Mafia is like Flutie Johnson. And then after that, and then it was just trash after that. Like, we're talking Losman versus Holcomb, Edwards versus whoever. Like, Orton could throw the football. Like, the dude was a competent quarterback. When he was in Denver, I mean, if people played fantasy football back then, the dude got fantasy football points. He was good. He wasn't great, but he was the best quarterback I'd seen in a Buffalo Bills. I mean, he had a great year with Sammy Watkins, Sammy's first year. So yes, and I thought when he like, I'm gonna go up and talk to the coaches, and then never came back. I was like,
yeah, that was so funny. The whole scenario there, where it's just Kyle Orton running away and Doug Marrone going along with him. It's right. Poetic.
Well, the Doug Marrone going along with him was great. But
yes, Saint Doug, we were glad to see him go.
Chris Jenke, the real Chris Jenke asks, Joe and Clay, barring injury, will we ever see Croft play again this year? Take it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's still a good tight end. He's played pretty well this year. I don't know why they've been healthy scratching him. Maybe it's just because Lee Smith fits better into that blocking type of a player, and that's what they wanted against the 49ers. I wouldn't expect to see Croft this week if that's the kind of thing that they're going for. There's a really strong defensive front that the Bills are going to have to deal with, and I think Lee Smith is going to be way more equipped to handle some of those guys up front than Croft. So wouldn't expect to see him this week, but I do think we'll see him again.
If Bruce is in the room, I would like a one-sentence answer on Knox versus Croft blocking ability. So, Bruce, if you're still in the room, how is Knox versus Croft blocking? That's the question I want to answer, or I want to ask, and I need an answer for. Did I wear the Boho jersey? I did. The Boho Mojo, hashtag Boho Mojo, was flowing. I am 2-0 in my Corey Bojorquez jersey. It is absolutely true. So, Gary Gottschall, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for being a part of the show. Podcast name nomination, Go Bills overreaction. I can't have... oh, Gobbles. You can do Gobbles counterpoint. And the Gobbles guys, guys works, right?
The Gobbles guys.
We could all do the Go Bills.
Yeah.
So we were told, just so everybody knows, and here's the thing, I'm not here to trash the Bills. I get it. I understand there's an aspect of like, when you're doing this stuff, they have to squeeze the small guy so that somebody doesn't come along and make $2, $3, $4, $5 million off of their likeness, off of their logo. We were also told that we were not any longer allowed to wear a Bills hat. Like, we can't have helmets in the background. We can't have pictures, jerseys. Like, we can have no likenesses of the Buffalo Bills anywhere. So that's funny. The Gobbles overreaction show. I'm torn between the Williams. It might be the Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that anybody will get it though, but it probably won't be that. So that's funny. Another one at Joe and Clay. Will Beasley dominate the Pittsburgh cornerback
if they throw it to him? That's all I got to do. He's always open. Just throw it to him.
Cole Beasley will dominate anyone. Anyone. Here we go. Bruce, answer my question. Knox is a more physical player with a higher upside as a blocker. Croft is a positional blocker at best. That could be the answer to the Tyler Croft stuff. So we know Lee Smith is coming in, or they're playing Lee Smith because they want that third tackle, because that's basically what he is.
Yep.
He's a third tackle.
And a red zone target, apparently. Yeah.
Why are they playing? Well, right. But not a deep threat, clearly, because he was wide open on that one play. Thank God. Josh didn't throw it to him. So at this point, you could probably assume or deduce that they're playing Knox over Croft because Knox is probably more of a physical blocker, which is what he did at Ole Miss. Right. So he didn't catch a lot of passes.
I think he also is, as an athlete in general, a pass catcher and a ball carrier, I think he has a higher upside than Croft as well. So.
Yep.
And pass catcher, maybe not.
RD706. I'm not ignoring you. Do me a favor. You're following, and I believe he's following you on Twitter. DM Spence. Spence is the man. Spence is my bestie. He's still my best friend. DM Spence. Ask him that question. He'll let you know. So there's no real beef. Like, between us, there's no beef. There's just sometimes it just is what it is. Richard Rush. Why not the Overreaction Fan Podcast? So this is the thing. So the problem with these things, and Clay's about to go through this too, is the fact that, like, when somebody goes into find a new podcast, right? So I want to listen to a podcast about trucks. So they type in trucks podcast, right? That's what they do. So trucks, and they find one. Oh, this one's about Chevys. This one's about Dodge trucks podcast. I want to know about Dodge trucks. Well, that's what happens. So when you name and title your podcast a certain way, so that if somebody goes in and they're like, I want to know more about the Buffalo Bills, or I want to listen to a Buffalo Bills podcast, they type in Bills podcast. Well, the hope is that you have good enough metrics and ratings that you end up at the top of the list. I don't know what you're laughing at, but
I just saw Bruce's comment.
This one?
No, the next one.
How do I ban Bruce from the chat? The problem is so even with my show, your show is great. I love the counterpoint concept. You know that. I've talked to you about it. I was there when you were trying to create the show as far as coming up with a name. Mm-hmm. And I told you, I was like, this is a sweet concept. I love the idea of going and getting somebody from the other team's media and like interviewing them and how do they feel about our team and how do they feel about their team, because we're so one-sided. With me, my podcast name is Bait. Like, I don't really overreact. I just more or less, I mean,
you should just call it the Reaction Podcast.
Right. But it's gotta have some sort of a Buffalo base or Bills base in there. That's the problem. So the fanatically we're gonna rename my show tonight. So yeah. But we've been on this thing for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. This has been a great show. You've been with me for a full hour, Clay. You're the guy.
Wow, yeah.
Dude. It's freaking awesome. So Jay Spence has spoken. Everything is good, everyone. I've been doing too much. Had to take some time off from the camera, which is that's my guy. Somebody ban that man. Elliot, if you're still in the room, ban that guy. No, I don't know who this Bruce Nolan is, FBI guy, but anyways, Clay, tell Bills Mafia one more time a little bit about yourself. Tell them about your show. Tell them what you talk about. Tell them what you got coming up tomorrow. And then we'll close this thing out here in a second.
Yeah, so I do a podcast weekly. Usually comes out on Wednesday. Going to be a little late today, but I do a podcast, Bill's Counterpoint. Well, I'm sorry, the Counterpoint podcast, where I invite on someone from the opposing team. A podcaster, fan, reporter, anything like that, and we talk about the matchup. And it's a good way to find out a little bit more about the other team, and see what they have from their perspective. Because a lot of us are just listening to a bunch of Bills stuff, and it's kind of hard to see from the other side. So I like to be able to talk to those guys and see what's going on. And hopefully you guys like that as well. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter. Oh, I went away, but
go ahead.
over here at Clay Troy, find me on Twitter. Give me a follow. That's pretty much it for me. The episode that'll be coming out, I just had on Arthur Moats, Don't Cross the Moats, and that was a great conversation. So be on the lookout for that one.
I almost forgot.
Right. Yeah. Right. Let me get out the notes. Hold on.
Dude, I prepped. I pumped you at the top of the show. Like I was Clay.
Yeah,
Clay has crushed it twice. So he's doing it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Troya for Manscaped.
Bills fans, there are so many Knicks that just suck. Buddy Knicks, the New York Knicks, Nick Mullins, Nick Wright. Don't even get me started on snags. When John Johnson snagged the ball out of Tyler Kroft's hands, when DeAndre Hopkins snagged the ball in the end zone, but the worst nicks and snags are the ones on your balls. So go to manscaped.com, get yourself the Lawnmower 3.0. It won't nick or snag. Use code Fanatics for an extra little discount for yourself.
Oh, he's got a million of them. It's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this show is brought to you by Manscaped. And if you go to manscaped.com right now, and you type in the promo code Fanatics, we're going to give you 20% off and free shipping. And guess what? Christmas is coming. And here's the thing. The boxers are legit. So all their equipment is great. And like all their tonics and all of their whatever you want to call them, all the stuff is good. The boxers are amazing. So I'm sold on the boxers. The boxers are so good. But yes, Clay, bravo. Like if anybody should legit be like, it should be. You should be
to notice, man.
You should be writing copy. You should be writing copy for Manscaped. So go to manscaped.com. Type in the promo code Fanatics, get 20% off of everything. You've already done your side. So my name is Joe Miller. You guys have been tuned in to the Hump Day Hotline. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. Here's the thing for both myself and for Clay. Go to your favorite podcast platform. So Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. I'm on iHeartRadio. Like wherever you listen to podcasts, Caster. What do you know? Some of the other ones. What are some of the other ones? There's a million of them. Like Transistor.
I genuinely have no idea. There's like 50 of them out there.
Wherever you go in and search Overreaction Bills for a limited time. Overreaction Bills. Go into and search Bills Counterpoint. Go and find Bruce Exclusive. Go in and find Code of Conduct. Subscribe to our RSS feed. Subscribe to literally our shows because you're going to miss exclusive content if you don't. So subscribe, rate, comment, review, all that good stuff. Show us some love. If you're enjoying the show, show us some love. But yes, so what I've got coming up. So I have obviously tomorrow night, I am recording the Off Tackle with John Fina show. And that will drop on Friday on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcast Network. And then Sunday is my preview show. So my preview show comes out on Sunday. You can only get that. You can only get the Overreaction preview show on Sunday from my RSS feed. So if you're only subscribed to the Buffalo Fanatics feed, you're not going to get it. So you've got to get it like off of my feed. And then obviously Overreaction Monday, the post-game show as well. With that, any final comments? Anything good? Anything you want to leave us with? Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to take the banner down. I got a Bills tree behind me, so I think I'll take that down and have that in the background next time.
Nice, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being just awesome on the in the comment section and on the show. You guys have been fantastic. What a great show, Clay. Great job. So
thank you very much, man. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I love your knowledge. I love your insight. I love the way that you kind of come at the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Hump Day Hotline one more time on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. We appreciate you guys joining us. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.